halfway through the internship, my manager, who was an IBM veteran, a IBM fellow, who was at that time about 60 years old and, like a grandfatherly figure too, he sat me down and he said, we don't hire anybody without a PhD, but I would like to see you here. Leaving a job has been very, very hard, and I have done it twice. I did it when I was in Microsoft, and I got an adopted girl. I have an adopted girl. When she came, I wanted some leave, but there was no maternity leave for adoption at that time. One of my strengths is that if I decide to give time to something, I will make it happen. Creative work fulfills me. I wouldn't say I am great at it because I haven't trained for it for years the way I have trained for the software part or the product part. That there is a term called multi-potentialite, which says, both sides of your brain have potential. And I do put myself in that space. One of the lines I say is that before I die, I want to be able to have impacted, about 10,000 to 25,000 women in small ways.
Welcome to the Leaders Lounge, where leaders share. A podcast where we are joined by someone who truly embodies the intersection of technology, leadership, and purposeful coaching. A very warm welcome, Ruchi Tandon. Ruchi is a leadership coach, product advisor, early stage investor, and a passionate L&D consultant and facilitator. With over 2 decades of experience across top-tier tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, Samsung, and IBM, she brings a rich blend of strategic insight, product excellence, and human-centered leadership. A technologist by qualification and a tech and product leader by experience, Ruchi has now stepped fully into her purpose, guiding the next generation of techno leaders and entrepreneurs through coaching, facilitation, and advisory. She is an ICF certified, professional certified coach, PCC, who combines deep industry knowledge with genuine passion for developing people. Get ready to get inspired with an amazing conversation with Ruchi. Her insights from her high-tech trenches and her wisdom from shaping the leaders of the future is going to be immense. How have you been, Ruchi?
Good afternoon, Shanti. Please share with me that summary bio that you have drafted. I don't think I can write that way about myself. I feel good.
It is a phenomenal bio. It's like, what do I include? What do I leave? Wonderful. We'll absolutely share.
Lovely connecting. It's a beautiful day today here in Bangalore.
Lovely. Likewise. Enjoying the warm sun, a little bit of cloud, and I did hope it stays this not very warm, not very cold.
Yeah.
So, Ruchi, we'll go through your entire life journey, starting from early childhood to now. We will have some questions where you might have to think through and respond, and some fun questions which will be like rapid fire. I won't give you much time to respond. We would want those to be fun and quick. Are you ready?
Love that.
Lovely. So we'll start with your early years. If you were to describe your early years, define early the way you want, as early as you want to go, define it in under a minute.
Joint family, mid to small town, but very vibrant, very happy, active life, lots of co-curricular stuff besides academics, all girls school, but a great group of friends, very inspiring teachers, anywhere from passion for cricket to, chemistry lab. And a lot of psychological safety in that joint family environment, caring for way more than just your parents and grandparents. Siblings, I wouldn't smile as much, but but overall, my childhood has been very, very warm and loving, and I am grateful for those first 15, 20 years of my life.
Awesome. So beautiful. I know you've mentioned your early childhood has been all bright and beautiful. I'm sure you'll be able to think of some dips that you would want to recount. What would be that one childhood failure that still comes back to your memory?
I think it's very personal. I did have a case of molestation at some point, and it's in that sense it ends up being I wouldn't use the word failure because you're too small to actually understand and deal with it. But I think the kind of family I was in, I got the kind of support that it didn't feel like failure at all. Only when I look back, I feel like I should have been more vocal. I should have done this. I should have done that. But you know what? When you're that small, your mind doesn't work that way, right? But the
Yeah.
fact that the scars weren't deep and they were, there were people all around you to support you. So even in a failure situation, it ended up being something which has made me a very strong person.
So glad that such a heart-wrenching incident still enabled you to come out braver, stronger, more effective, and glad that you had that kind of support in the family. Very few women have that, and so happy to hear that. Ruchi, earlier when we were talking, you had mentioned that you'd applied, you'd even cracked ITs, but didn't pursue it. You want to share that story with us?
Yeah, if I go on the long one, it'll end your podcast. But yes, I was an IIT aspirant and probably a dreamer. Have a family where I have other IITians, and so we used to tease we are going to be an IIT family. That was like the joke in the family. That particular year, something had happened. I don't remember the specifics, but there was a protest, and the results of IIT did not come on time. And I
Mm.
remember one day before the closing of BITS application, one day before, 24 hours before, somebody from my family office had to go and physically submit my application in BITS because I hadn't submitted an application. I
Hmm.
did get computer science in BITS, and I chose to go to to BITS. When I was in BITS, about 20 days after I was in BITS, is when the results of IIT came, and I came for counseling. I selected something. I got aerospace in IIT Kanpur, and
Mm.
I chose not to come back at that point. My parents, my family would have loved it, partly because it's near. I'm from Prayagraj. I was getting IIT
Ah,
Kanpur. My brother was an alumni of IIT Kanpur and my uncle, so that was also very close to my family. But I think I made a decision and I said, I've gone there, I like it. And this whole computer science thing was not very well understood by either parents or, frankly, by me. And I
yeah,
said, you know what, I want to wade this water. And I stayed with that decision. Do I regret it? Sometimes, because it was a dream, I do sometimes, but I wouldn't say too much because I
yeah.
think what it told me about myself was that I will be ready to take risks based on the situation, and then to just navigate it the best I can. BITS has been beautiful for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. More power to you, and more power to all the decisions we've taken throughout our life. We are who we are today because of all the decisions we've taken. So, Ruchi, if I were to ask you to describe your young self in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
I'm young today.
Wonderful. I echo that sentiment.
And I think all those three words might still apply, but
Huh?
precocious, talkative, in some sense, a badass kind of girl.
Hmm. Tell us more about the badass part. I'm curious.
Uh, like when I was 6 and 8, I didn't hesitate to ask any questions. Like in general, around me in my family and in my extended family or the city, girls wouldn't ask such question as openly. And I was in a very traditional family, in a
Mm.
very reasonably orthodox also. But I would just go and ask my grandfather why he spends the whole day in a separate room and Dadi is there in the kitchen, kind of
Ah.
stuff. I would openly ask those questions, but I wouldn't say I resented any of it. The
Hmm.
conditioning is such, and the family was very warm. But I was able to ask such questions, and that was kind of bad. Even in school, things I used to ask my teachers later on when I go to meet them say, we remember you because you asked like really badass questions. So,
Ah, I totally relate to where that adjective came from. I've not seen many women use that adjective for themselves, but so proud with it.
no, I wasn't aggressive in a badass way. I wasn't
Yeah,
aggressive or bully or fight. Actually, even now
yeah.
I am not aggressive even in boardrooms. But I think the way I bring out things or the kind of things I question
Mm,
are sometimes away from the norm.
yeah. Not the traditional regular
Yeah,
league
yeah.
questions. What's your fondest memory as a child?
Fondest memory, actually, there are too many, but travels with my grandfather used to
Mm,
take us on family travels, three, four cars, like 20 of us.
Wow.
cousins, aunts, and then 10 days vacation. And he would always tie it to, because he was a religious, take it to a couple of religious places and a couple of wildlife, nature,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying with my cousins tremendously and enjoying India, the northern part of beautiful part of India, and a love for travel. Both actually my grandfather and my granddad. Those are some of very, very, very fond and warm memories of childhood.
I can imagine some of my fondest memories are also the time I used to go to my maternal grandmom and the fun we had with the cousins. So, Ruchi, you said you've been brought up in a joint family, large. What aspects of being brought up in a joint family have influenced who you are today?
Several, and I think once I started my coaching journey is when I reflected a lot more on those, like specifically. I like harmony. I am not a person who likes conflict and carrying people along. Consensus is important. You can't leave people. You have to listen to people and you have to then carry them along. And you need to be able to have a calm even when somebody is totally blown out of proportion in their response. Because these are very common things to happen in a joint family. Um, I am generally a truster. I don't think it's a word, but I think that also comes to me from a joint family. Everybody is good unless proven
Hmm.
otherwise, which which has worked against me sometimes. But I like it that my mind is like that. Everybody
Yeah.
is good, and there is, and I like teamwork. I like working with people. I like working with people who are not like me,
Hmm.
because my cousins were not like me and I was not like them. And we did so many things together. So
Wow.
I think all of those are things which have, whether they were inherently there and they got sharpened or whether they came as a result of this, um, I think I've learned a lot from living in a joint family.
Brilliant. Brilliant. All right, let's get into a quick rapid fire, just a few questions to get you know a little bit at a deeper level.
Sure.
Um, what was your comfort food during your school days?
Uh, Paratha achar. There is
Huh?
a specific homemade achar and paratha, and rare but omelette.
Is that still your comfort food?
I actually am very open. I don't have a comfort food. I like a lot of variety of food, but like there's a specific tadka in the dal which does it.
Ah, that's the magic. Lovely, lovely. I know you're a reader. So if I were to give you a magic wand and say switch places with a character in one of the magical, mystical comics books that you've read, what would that character switch be? Who would you like to switch a day with?
Although I have a number of characters and I have done this as part of my theater training multiple
Ah,
times, but I think the vibrance, curiosity, being lost and found that Alice in Wonderland brings,
mm,
and also another book called The Prince. Both of these
mm,
are kids, and yet there is just so much vibrance, there is so much philosophy, there is so much learning, there is so much wit
yeah.
and repartee. I'd love to, you know, change places with Alice or the Prince.
You alluded to some bit of practice during theater. Tell us more about your venture with theater.
I was into theater from school days. I have acted in
Mm,
multiple plays in school, but it was never something which you wanted to pursue actively. I come from a city, Prayagraj, which is very cultural. I have attended even as a young child, when I was 11 or 12 years old. I've gone and watched Amjad Ali Khan ji live. I've watched lots of plays, classic plays over there. So some of the interest is part of the cultural upbringing over there. In college, I did act in a Hindi play in my final semester. When I started working, I acted in the Bay Area with a group called Natak. So I used to pick and choose. I think I was primarily driven by my career. And whenever
mhm.
there was some time, I would give it to this. But for several years, when my kids were small, I did not do anything in theater. I did a formal training in theater in 2007, actually.
Oh,
And I am so grateful to my guru, Ratan Thakur Grant. I did it under his group called Misfit. And
mhm.
from there on, I have tried to act every few years. Again, career was still a primary focus, so it would be when I'm either taking breaks or something like that. Now that I became full time a freelancer since 2018, one of my goals is to every year do a play. COVID didn't, like, COVID ate up a few
Yeah.
years, but I have done some pretty iconic plays in the last 4 or 5 years. Six Dead Queens and an Inflatable Henry was totally amazing. Parva, I think it'll stay with me for the rest of my life. It is an 8-hour performance of
Wow.
Mahabharat, written by Dr. Bhairappa, who's a legend in Kannada literature, and directed by Prakash Balawadi. Amazing direction. So I have tried to do a play every year. Last year I did it
Mm,
with Arjun Sachinani. Uh, Crossing to Talikota. It's Girish Karnad's script. I think the acting part is only a small part of the passion that I have. Having perspectives, seeing history, understanding emotions, understanding how conflicts happen, all of that is immense learning as we do theater.
so beautiful. And it's so wonderful to hear that um, you've nurtured your passion. You've not let it go because of your career. And when the time is ripe and right, you are, living your passion along with your career. More power to you. More power to you.
Yeah, at some point, I think I want that to be my career, but I don't know.
Ah,
I don't
lovely.
want to call it just an avocation, because when I do
Yeah,
that, I'm as dedicated. That's one of my uh, personalities. When whatever I'm doing, I'm 150% for that at that period. So
wonderful. All right. Let's move to a little later in your life, maybe the teens. What has been a tough phase during your teens?
I think the molestation I've already mentioned, so I'll try and
Mm,
bring up some other aspect. I think
mm,
I was a very bright child
mhm,
in a joint family environment where there were lots of cousins, so a lot of comparison was happening.
mm,
And only now I understand. I would not feel the brunt of it, except sometimes one of my cousins would be angry with me.
mm.
But only now I understand how this whole comparison is really bad for the psyche of our children and our,
Yeah.
peers. I'm glad and I'm grateful that my cousins and my family and friends are still close to me, even with that. But I know they used to get snide remarks. Look at her, how she does, and only now I understand how hard it must
Yeah.
have been. That I was the reason they were being subjected to this, right?
Ouch. Mm.
Um, but I've been very grateful that it hasn't scarred relationships over the years. But it used to be hard in class when teachers used to say that. I used to cringe. I used to just cringe and want to hide under the table at times.
I can imagine. I can imagine. We are four siblings, and each one of us had a unique trait, one for the intelligence, one for the skin color, one for her braveness, and one for his wit. And we used to be called out at various instances for those traits and compared against all cousins. It is not a nice feeling, irrespective of it being a good trait, it is not nice at all. Totally relate to that. Hmm.
Something that I didn't mention, and although this is by chance,
Hmm.
I've been wearing glasses since I was
Hmm.
6 months old.
Six
Um,
months.
6 months old. I have squint in my eye,
Huh.
and it was detected very early thanks to my grandmother. Had went through serious treatment also, but it hasn't gone completely at all. But I
Hmm.
did have an operation and developed power, so I've been wearing glasses since I was 6 months old. I was teased a lot in my teens because of this. So that's
Mm,
another not so pleasant memories, but again,
yeah,
it I think I took it in the right way. I have built myself beyond that.
wow. Yeah. Uh, these incidents, they just help us become who we are and wonderful. So if I were to ask you, Ruchi, what was one of uh, the toughest decision you had to make in your life, what would you say?
It's a personal decision, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the personal decision to separate. So I will, at the moment, park that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather pick up a professional one here to discuss. Quitting, leaving a job has been very, very hard, and I have done it twice.
Mm,
I did it when I was in Microsoft, and I got an adopted girl. I have an adopted girl.
mm,
Um, when she came, I wanted some leave, but there was no maternity leave for adoption at that time.
yeah,
And I was in the middle of really interesting projects, and I was, in the throes of work, and it wasn't easy to take time off. I was lucky that my partner, my spouse, he was at that time in a startup mode, so he used to work from home. But when my daughter turned one, I made this decision of quitting so that I could build a deeper bond with her. It was a very, very hard decision to leave your career at Microsoft when you're doing good. Even then, Microsoft was a very well-known
yeah,
company,
yeah.
right? And I did take off. I was off for about 2 years before I went back to Amazon. And then in Amazon also, I had to quit because I had a precious pregnancy after multiple miscarriages, and
Mm,
I was asked not to be on the road and take strain. So again, I had to take off. Um, Amazon was very supportive. They were ready to give me a leave of absence and things like that. But somehow I, as a mom at that time, felt that after so much medical history, I should take
yeah.
off. So, quitting both the times have been extremely tough decisions. And what I have learned about that from the experience is that for me, family always came first, even though I was pretty career oriented, and it has hurt. It has hurt
Yeah,
being out of
sure.
work and then going back again. The ramp up is also hard, but in the long run, I have cherished my time with my children. So, you give some, you take some.
Yeah. What has kept you going in these tough times?
Um, I think my personality of presence, whatever I'm doing now gets all of me.
Mm,
What I have decided to leave or what I have aspired but not got, they do bother me periodically, but I am extremely present person. So when I'm
mm.
taking out the lice from my dog's hair, thinking of, and I think that personality has sharpened over the years. Coaching has helped a lot in
I
building that
agree.
presence even stronger. But that has really helped me going. Be here, commit to what you have, build that. That has kept me going.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, I'm more and more inspired to hear your journey and story, Ruchi. We will continue. Let's talk about your career years. Um, Share with us some highs and lows during your work career, where you were employed with corporates.
I think some of the highs, one of the first highs that come to me is I took an internship at IBM Almaden Lab. It's the IBM's lab in the Valley, in Silicon Valley. It's known for its research in data area. And I went there for my internship after my first year of master's. And within 4 weeks, halfway through the internship, my manager, who was an IBM veteran, a IBM fellow, who was at that time about 60 years old and, like a grandfatherly figure too, he sat me down and he said, "We don't hire anybody without a PhD, but I would like to see you here."
Whoa.
And I said, I had signed up for a PhD. And so I said, I do have plans for a PhD. So he said, just finish your coursework, come here and after your master's, and you can do your PhD from here. And that was one of the
Wow.
highs on how I thought somebody saw potential in me early. But I finally didn't do a PhD. I joined Almaden, but
Mm,
it was the startup era, and the startups were
mm,
calling, and I just decided not to pursue the PhD. But that's one of the highs I have. Another high is I have had really fast promotions when I was at Amazon, and became part of the leadership team, became the first person in India to be part of the interviewing team, hired out of interview, hired during interview. I remember being interviewed by Amazon, and
mm.
the CTO of Amazon was interviewing me. He had flown down from Seattle. There was no office in Amazon at that time. We were
Okay.
part of the initial team they were hiring.
Uh,
Okay. And I finished my interview. I walked out of the room and he called me back and he said, Ruchi, lovely. I think we'll be making you an offer. I said, thank you very much. Are you in town tomorrow? I said, yes. We are going to have a lunch with, meal with some of the people we have hired. Would you like to join? I said, sure, I'll try and make it. And said, could you come in the morning? I said, are there some more interviews pending? He said, no, I would like you to have you on my interviewing panel. You can join
Oh,
us as an interviewer. So again, some of these just have stayed, um,
wow.
high. I am a people person more than a milestone person. Like,
Mm,
I don't celebrate delivering something as much as I celebrate if somebody has grown under my leadership or under my peer work.
yeah.
So some of the not so good periods, I had multiple of miscarriages while I was at Microsoft, even though they supported it very well, very
Mm,
well. But it was a tough time. It was a very, very tough
I
time mixing personal and professional situation there. So that has been hard. Quitting has been hard, as I told you, and going
yeah,
back has
yeah.
been hard. Yeah.
Wonderful. You've stepped in and out of several corporates and multiple times. What's been your biggest challenge in terms of transitions from corporate, not in corporate, back in corporate, not?
This is something I do have to give credit to Ruchi, if I were to speak in third person, that she has ramped up very well whenever she got back. And I think I used to struggle with afternoon naps,
Mm,
sharing that with you here. But I think just the physical capacity to
mm,
be in a moving environment, mentally moving, physically moving environment, when you're back at home, when you control your time, used to be, there used to be a pattern of adjusting to it.
mm,
Both the times the organizations were extremely adaptive. But I don't remember it being a struggle coming back.
wow.
Because when I used to take a break, I had dedicated time in which I was reading, in which I was either consulting, I was part of, I had joined a recruitment firm, so I was helping recruiters. So I was doing something to keep my uh, software and IT knowledge up to date and hands-on experiences and talking to people professionally. So it wouldn't be like a complete lull. And I do a lot of coaching for women returning to work, either after maternity or after break. And I've also worked with some men who have
Mm,
taken breaks and come back. And one of the key guidance I give, although as a coach we don't give guidance, but as a mentor, one of the guidance I have given them is that, you know, keep yourself busy in the area. Keep your mind engaged in that area also. So then the journey back becomes easier.
very
And I think
profound.
I'll credit
Can't
that to
agree
you.
more. This whole thing of when women are in a sabbatical, what they do with that time uh, has so much to do with how they come back into the workforce.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The good thing is both the times my break were for my children, so I was running around. Physically,
Yeah,
I was fine. You
yeah,
have no, that is something corporate has to understand when moms come back.
yeah.
We might be tired in one way, but we have the energy they don't understand. They will not understand.
So with you, so with you. They can't. Yeah, yeah. So Ruchi, from engineering to coaching, so many roles, so many hats. What's been that common thread across all the roles and hats that you bore?
I'm a people person. I I get a high. Many people get a high when they make a milestone, they celebrate it, when you
Mm,
deliver something. I get a high when I see somebody has learned a skill because of me, somebody has changed a mindset because of me, because of
mm,
something I said or something they have observed or seen. So I am a people person, and that has been, and not a people pleaser person, people growth person. That has
awesome.
been something which has been a common thread as a leader, as
Mhm.
a peer. I have sat with people and just worked peer because, and then when something clicks for them, I get, I feel good about myself.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to ask you some this or that questions. I call them this or that. Basically, I'm going to give you two words, two choices, and without thinking much. There are no right and wrong answers. Those are your choices. You have to quickly respond on one that really resonates with you. Yeah. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Morning person, night owl.
I am a night owl. Oh,
Hmm?
totally, totally.
Wow. Until what time can you stay up alert?
3, 2:30 to 3.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, without coffee.
Without coffee. Amazing. Amazing. Mountains or beaches?
Um, Mountains.
Why?
Al- Although I love both, but mountains makes me feel close to nature more than beach.
Hmm.
Although I'm a crab, Cancerian, so I'm supposed to love water. I love water, but somehow just the colors, the difference in the greens and the browns and the shades and the birds and the micro noises that are there. I just love mountains.
Wonderful. Books or podcasts?
Books.
Physical, hard books?
Kindle. I have
Works,
started
huh?
audibling. I
Huh?
have started audibling, which is not books and not podcasts. It's in the middle.
Uh-huh.
But I like structured content. I like a lot of fiction.
Hmm.
My eyes are now telling me to listen more. So maybe I will
Yeah,
become a
yeah.
podcast person more. But right now it's books.
Right now it's books. Last one. Work from home, work from office, and why?
I love working from office, but I have adapted well to working from home.
Hmm.
To be able to pursue my passion, to
Yeah,
be able to give time to things beyond just the routine of an office. I've made that choice, but I love social engagement. I love being in office in a team environment. And that's something
awesome.
I miss in my freelance life.
I so relate to it. I so relate. Wonderful. Ruchi, I know as a coach, you've worked with a lot of women and women leaders and in that women leadership space. So, next couple of questions um, uh, in that area. If I were to ask you, what is that one advice you would give to all women now? What would you say?
Leadership or coming into any level.
Whatever. Yeah.
So I think this whole gender equity thing has become very prime in the last 4 5 years
Mm,
in the corporate, and it's good. But one of the things I want to highlight to all women is that do not make it make it a battle. Do not make it a battle to fight. Make it something you will stand up for. But super aggression is not what you want to grow yourself into. You will have
mhm.
a lot more allies. You will have a lot more support from both women and men if you're
Totally
able to
agree.
do this with a calm head. Also, understand the conditioning is not just against women, it is also for patriarchy for men. There's a lot of conditioning they have been subjected to while growing up, right? So
Mm,
it's a journey together. And if you're able to keep that balance, you'll get allies. You'll be able to do a lot more impactful work than if you do stuff with aggression. Avoid
wow.
toxicity.
Totally, totally relate to what you're saying. Um, resonates. I also work with a lot of women leaders, and it hurts when several women think mm, being in a workplace or in a corporate is about losing their femininity. And I say,
Mhm.
that is something that's very special to you, very dear to you. Don't let go. Uh, and it need not be aggression. It could be assertion. And is that switch possible? But yeah, it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a deeper thing that I think that women and men have to overcome all the conditioning that they've had. You seem to be very sorted. No conditioning for you. So let me talk about now for you, Ruchi. Um, what is your purpose in life today?
Um, every day I want to be able to make a difference to somebody's life.
Mm,
And the somebody can range from a bunny rabbit who's caught in a bush
mm,
to some senior leader who's trying to navigate a complex situation in office. Am I competent for that? Do I have the caliber? I don't know. But I know
mm,
that one of my strengths is that if I decide to give time to something, I will make it happen.
uh-huh.
So I want to make a change. I want to be able to support people in their journey. One of the lines I say is that before I die, I want to be able to have impacted, about 10,000 to 25,000 women in small ways, whether it's their entrepreneurial journey, whether it's their debate on career, whether it's about
Mm.
choosing something or whatever. So that's my purpose. And it's very fulfilling when you're able to walk the path with somebody, even
Mm.
just for a little distance, and know that that part of the journey became easier because you were there.
Hmm. And how are you bringing all of this to life today?
Through my coaching, through the kind of, even in my facilitations, even if it's a very fixed subject, I do facilitation in like product management, or
Mm.
I do software architecture, I do product management, I do strategic thinking. So
Mm.
I do a bunch of systems thinking. Even in those classes, my focus is for the people who are interested, they will take back something which is very specific to their personality.
Mm.
Give that extra time to that person because you noticed something about them, or they were feeling safe enough in that environment that they brought up that issue.
Yeah.
And either through dialogue or through mentoring or through anecdotes or through frameworks, you're able to give them some either clarity or different perspective.
So beautiful. You mentioned mentoring, and you've mentored, you've coached. What's the hardest part of shifting between a mentor and a coach?
Yeah, I mean, experience kills you. I mean, as a coach, experience doesn't matter. It's the space that matters, right? And
Yeah.
mentoring, your experience is what is bringing all the nuggets and things. So switching the hat is very hard. And one of my challenges during my PCC journey, I'm being very vocal, I took a little time to clear my PCC journey. And my mentor, who is might be known to you,
Mhm.
uh, one of the feedbacks I got was that I was acting like a solution provider. Because I was a
Hmm.
mentor, and so it is hard
Yeah.
to keep away from the fact that you have to give solutions and as a coach. And that's the switch which is, I think I'm starting to navigate it. Hopefully, I'll master it in the next few months.
I'm sure it's a journey. I totally relate to that. Um, when I started my coaching journey, I was a manager, and as a manager, you're supposed to guide and mentor your team members. So you come with that hat on, uh, and then your supervisors would say, "No, you're a coach right now. You're not supposed to advise. You're not supposed to provide solutions. You're not supposed to guide." Um, it
Hmm.
is a tough transition. If I were to ask you, what is your coaching style? How would you describe it?
Actually, it sounds very cliche because
Mm.
presence,
Mm.
presence. That's it. I think presence and tonality. I think I have, part could be because of my theater training, could be because of my personality. I don't know. I am able to mirror tonality and mirror feelings, um, and I'm able to use presence in a very strong way that people feel heard. They feel heard, they feel supported, and most important, more than those two, they feel like something different in a way that they are seeing the world, and that's extremely satisfying. And I'm very grateful to have been chosen by whatever it is that has chosen me to have put me on this journey.
Wonderful. Is there a quirky habit or a ritual that you practice as you settle into a coaching conversation or as you start your day?
um Quirky, no. Morning, I
Hmm.
like to be with my dog a little bit, uh, hug him a little, just throw a couple of balls at him, look into his eyes. He talks.
Yeah.
So that's something I like to do. Before my coaching, I wouldn't call it a quirky habit, but I um, look for a blank page,
Hmm.
and not in a diary, a page which I might want to throw away because
Hmm.
I kind of don't want to write in
Hmm.
coaching. I want to be 100% present, but sometimes a word I want to scribble. So one of the things I do is hunt for a clean paper. And then actually I throw it away after the session
Trash.
because
Wow.
I want the words to stay. I do believe whatever I write stays longer in my brain. So just write a few words so that it stays in my brain.
But then you trash that piece of
And then I
paper.
trash that.
Wonderful. Um, Let's get a bit philosophical. If your life were to be a movie, what would it be called?
All right. Um, wow, that one makes me think. A bouquet of flowers with some
Wow.
thorns. I don't know, with a punchline with some thorns.
Yeah. Okay. Mm, what's that one song that you sing to yourself that really peps you up?
Oh, Kaisi Paheli Zindagani. I love singing that song.
Do you mind singing that for us?
Oh,
Just a couple of lines.
sure. All right. नई 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 ये बात है पुरानी कैसी पहेली है ये कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. What next? If you were to have dinner with a historical figure, dead or alive, your choice, who would that be and why?
Chanakya.
Mhm.
I'm very intrigued by Chanakya's character. I have read some and I want to read more just to understand. It was revenge that drew him, that drove him to select Chandragupta Maurya and do all of that. But the acumen in Arthashastra and the acumen in his the knowledge, I feel
Yeah.
like it's just so diverse. It is social, it is political, it is leadership, it is friendship, it is spousal.
Yeah.
So I find that philosopher more than an Arthashastra person. I find him a philosopher at some level.
Philosopher. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow. There have been instances where I've read his writings and I'm like, oh, that wouldn't work in today's day and time. But I'm
I
sure
completely agree. Very, very
when he
patriarchal
wrote it,
and
I'm sure there was reason why it was written in those days.
yeah,
But yeah, absolutely patriarchal. All right. What is that one superpower you wish you had?
superpower that I think the ability to make just somebody smile. If I
Ah,
could just do like this when somebody was sad and they would not just smile physically, but actually smile in their brain. And
yeah.
I think that would be really powerful.
What a generous wish in superpower. Normally, I've heard superpowers that will make them go out and do things and like avoid Bangalore traffic and those kinds of things I've heard, but this is so heartwarming to hear. Hmm. Tell me what's the most adventurous thing that you've done?
Most adventurous thing that I've done. I think bungee jumping and
Where?
yeah, skydiving.
Wow.
Skydiving in New Zealand. Um, I am an adventurous person, not necessarily all the time, but I like when the right company is there. But I remember completely the butterfly to take the cake.
Hmm. What's that one thing that people usually don't know about you?
Um, I know Urdu as a language. I learnt it
Hmm.
while growing up. I have interest in shairi. I don't
Hmm.
write, but I read. I appreciate. I think very few people who are close to me would know this
Mhm.
part of me.
One small shairi for us,
Um,
couple of lines.
so Ghalib का है.
Hmm.
Okay. जला है जिस्म जहां दिल भी जल गया होगा कुरेदते हो जो ये राह है आरज़ू क्या है. And the point is that, when somebody dies or goes, the heart
Yeah.
also goes.
Yeah.
Just scratching, we pick up all that rock to take it and submerge it in the river. तो उसको जो कुरेद रहे हो, आपकी आरज़ू क्या, आपको क्या होप है कि वहां क्या मिलेगा. And in a soft means that when somebody's physical abilities to think are down, their mental abilities might also die. After that, if you try to revive them, you won't find anything over there.
How beautiful. How beautiful. Uh, Ruchi, I'm getting this feeling. You do theater, you sing, you write poetry, you're a coach,
I
you're a
don't write.
technologist.
This was Galib, and I don't
I
write. I read a lot.
you read poetry.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I know we've mentioned about you singing and dancing and music and with all of these creative facets in your life, do you think they've shaped you who you are today and how?
So let's look at it in a slightly different way. I was really good at chemistry. I was the topper in ICSE in chemistry. I was good at math and physics. So I have a very logical skills also.
Mm.
And then I have all these creative skills in some other dimension, in some other world where we had more choices of career, when standard careers of engineering and IAS officer was the second choice I had for a career, wouldn't have been the only picks. I may not have been in that space, in the logical kind of space, because creative work fulfills me. I wouldn't say I am great at it because I haven't trained for it for years the way I have trained for the software part or the product part, right? So I haven't done
Hmm.
enough to reach a level of mastery, but it fulfills me. It fulfills my soul. So I did learn while doing some work for a coaching project that there is a term called multipotentialite, which says, both sides of your brain have potential. And I do put myself in that space. I'm
Totally
so
see
glad,
that.
pardon, I'm so glad that I have rediscovered it. And I am on this journey of experiencing all these beautiful things. Dance, I dance too. Now the knee hurts at times, but I love dancing. So all these aspects of the creative part, I am glad that I'm experiencing that, even as I have done a lot of data and math and logic and code and all of that. So I just feel blessed and grateful to have.
So beautiful, Ruchi. It's been such a wonderful discussion, so heartwarming. I'm just so amazed at that multifacetedness, that multi-potential thing, uh, person that you are. Humbled to know you, meet you. Uh, Anything that you wish to wrap up this conversation by?
Thank you for giving me this platform to share my story, nuggets more than the actual career journey, which is what
Hmm.
we get talked a lot about. So thank you for having such a platform. The last thing I would like to say is that I have had ups and downs. I've had slowed down careers and rise up careers. I've reached a phase where pace doesn't matter. Direction is what I am focused on. Savviness is of another level. Um, Fast, I'm looking to for the next 10, 20 years of mine to savor slowly, build gently, support kindly, and smile fully.
May all your wishes and ambitions get granted. Heartfelt wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi. It's been
Thank you
so
so much for
wonderful.
this time. I had a lovely time. I had a lovely time talking to you.
Likewise, likewise. I'm sure our audience are going to enjoy listening to you, savoring all the nuggets that you've shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.